Welcome back to the OTB podcast, the original and still the best New Zealand mountain bike podcast. Brought to you by the legends at Maxxis Tyres, the tyre of choice for some of New Zealand's fastest racers like Sam Blenkinsop, Ray Morrison, Craig Oliver, Ali Hilzebosch, and this week's guest too. So without further ado, in the hot seat, I'm joined by who, in my opinion, was the breakout star of the 2024 World Cup season, a Lachie Stevens-Mcnab. From his what could have been ride in Poland to his podiums in Leogang and Mont Saint Anne, Lachie showed he's not just a flash in the pan, and he's a force to be reckoned with in the future. Don't forget to follow and subscribe so you never miss an episode on your feed. You can also help keep the show alive with a donation via Patreon if that suits you. Tell a friend, share our episodes, and help us keep growing. On to the show.
Nice. Very nice. Front and back. Leader's garment. Quite happy.
It's alright, isn't it? Looks pretty good in that bad boy.
Excellent, I think the word you're looking for is... Look at that thing. Looks beautiful, doesn't it? Beautiful.
Now, only if you're ready for this.
This week, joining us on the OTB podcast in the hot seat is none other than one of the guys who's had probably the breakout season, I think, out of riders this year, Lachie Stevens-Mcnab. Thanks for joining us, mate.
Cheers for having me.
This season, I mean, we caught up with you a little while back with the union team, but I thought it'd be good to catch up again, kind of, talk about how things went and a bit of background. But, I mean, tell us about, I think the one for me, what I'd call your breakout race was, Poland. You could have been damn near on for a win, but that one had to sting a bit. But was it also kind of in the back of your mind, you're a bit like, I can do this, like bit of a bittersweet moment?
Yeah, for sure. Like, I wasn't too devastated, to be honest. It was, even after semi-day in quali, I was like 7th in quali, 5th in semi. And that night I was just like over the moon, just like consistent top 10, and then I got a top 5 in semi, and I was just like, I was at the top and just really trying to just take it in and not, I was nervous, but it was like, it was the sickest feeling. Like, I was nervous, and Amory was warming up right there, and Luke was just there, Benoit, like, it was like all the top dudes were, I was up there with them, and I was just trying to enjoy the moment because it was like what I've dreamed of. Yeah,
for sure.
So,
like everything you've been wanting, and you're like, I'm here. Like, it's pretty cool.
Just go ride your bike.
Yeah.
And that was probably one of the sickest runs I've ever had until I crashed. But yeah, it was just so sick. And just carrying good speed everywhere. And after that, I was gutted when I got to the bottom and saw green, because I'd never had a run like that. I never knew what winning run could have felt like. And then I got to the bottom, I was like 1 point something up, and I was like, far out. So I wasn't gutted really. It was kind of cool, and everyone was kind of stoked and saying you were the man of the day and stuff like that. So it was like, it was a pretty cool experience. And I mean, it's pretty much, even though I'm second year elite, it's pretty much my first year.
Yeah,
just missed
I
the
guess
whole
you were
last year.
pretty beaten up last year with wrist injury and that sort of thing. So
and so I was just stoked to be able to put that kind of speed down, and it's just a good building step, I think. I'm pretty. I want to win.
Yeah, but I can imagine. I mean, I can, after the season you've had this year, I can imagine that's right there on the, like, burning in the front of your mind, I imagine.
Yeah, no, for sure. And not glad, but I'm not pissed off that it happened that way.
Yeah.
Because hopefully when I do win, it's just gonna feel that much better, and
I can feel like you can tell for sure, like where that kind of builds come from, and that you're just like, yeah, it'll be incredible when that comes. And I mean, I feel like you never say never, but I feel like it's on its way. It's like the way you've been riding and building, and especially it's been good to see you. Like this year, I guess probably one of the big things for you was like just have a consistent, solid season. But it's probably gone a ton better than even what you expected, I imagine.
Yeah, for sure. The main goal at the start of the year was just to get through uninjured. Just had a couple shitty years, I've talked about it, but and so yeah, that was the main goal, just to get through the season uninjured. And if we were to talk about placings, it would be consistent top 20s, top 15s, couple top 10s, and then it was kind of like longer term. It was kind of like longer term, the podiums and stuff like that. But I think the first race I had some top 5 sectors.
Because Fort William was the first round, wasn't it?
William, yeah. I was 18th in quali.
Yeah.
And then I I snapped a chain in quali at the start of the motorway. And then
it's not a good place to not have a chain.
Yeah, and then I snapped a chain at the start of the motorway again.
Oh,
in
shit.
semis, and got like 32nd, like missed out.
Missed it.
Or maybe 35th or something. But yeah, missed out by.
That would have been. I mean, those 5 positions would be nothing in terms of time.
Yeah, so that was pretty frustrating. And then in that run, I had some top 5 sectors, but also I did ride super slow up in the rocks. It started raining for semis, and I was just a little bit tentative. And then the next race was Poland.
Yeah.
And so,
I mean, you'd had a really good New Zealand season. I mean, you won everything in elite, national series, national champs, Crankworks. Like, were you kind of going into the World Cup season with like, I guess, what was your kind of ambition, your goal? Were you thinking like, getting a top 10 would be sick? Did you think the podium was there this year?
I honestly had no idea.
Yeah.
I didn't think about it too much. I was just like, just go ride your bike, really. Yeah. I think sometimes if you don't know, it can fuck your head a little bit.
Yeah.
If you're going in like, I need to get a top 10 or whatever. Like, I think I definitely knew that I could do that. I think if I had, what I would have been thinking at the time was just get into finals.
Yeah.
Just get into finals, get into that top 30, and then lay the best run you can. And
I guess like you were saying, you basically missed the whole season last year. So I guess that's kind of the natural first. I think that's almost, like the first step for everyone at this point is like just make that top 30, like have that finals run to be able to put that down. So it's the place to start from. Then you obviously Poland, everyone's like, holy shit, you're on everyone's radar. And then you backed it up with your third at Leogang. So it was that had to be like, felt so redeeming coming out of there.
Yeah, for sure. But because like, it's all well and good having fast splits, but you have to get to the bottom.
Yeah.
So, that was pretty cool. And my mum and my little brother were there.
Awesome.
So that was sick. And Joe was there. Like Joe couldn't come to all the races, but it was sick that he was there for that. That was pretty unreal, because I think I was 15th in semis. And yeah, I was just sitting on that. I was like, oh, sick, top 10. Oh my god, top 5. And Finn beat me pretty quickly after.
Yeah, because he didn't qualify or anything, did he? He'd been
crashed
hurt.
And hurt his hand. Yeah, so I mean, that's pretty unreal that you don't ride a weekend and then get second.
Yeah, I mean, I remember watching it and thinking like, holy shit, like how has he come out of this not doing a timed run to finish second? Like that was an incredible bounce back for him.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, he beat me pretty quickly. Maybe he was like 2 guys after me or 3 guys after me. So I was kind of like, yeah, this is gonna start happening. And then I just kept on. We just kept on being faster and faster. And yeah, all of a sudden it was like only Luke was left at the top, and I was like, couldn't really believe it.
I think it's kind of weird when you're sitting in that position, isn't it? Because you're kind of like, oh shit, now we're into like, there's only 8 guys to go. So like I've guaranteed a top 10, and then you're like, oh shit, I've guaranteed like top 5. And then all of a sudden you're like into third. Man.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool. And to back up that Poland run, I didn't just want to be just this one burst of speed and then you're back to 23rd. And then I think I've been able to carry the speed on. I think every final that I've made, I missed 2 finals. I missed Fort William, and then I missed Val de Sol final if we want to talk about Warner Brothers.
we can talk about Warner Brothers.
I think this was the flawed thing with the semi-finals is I qualified 10th.
Yeah.
And then mechanical in semi-finals, and I didn't get to race.
Yeah, right.
And the weekend, but literally 4 days before I was on the podium.
Yeah.
And Fort William, I qualified 18th, and then had a mechanical and didn't qualify. So I think that was a bit of a bummer.
Yeah.
To go from like the highest of highs, and then you don't even get to race on Sunday.
Yeah, it's a pretty shit feeling.
Yeah.
I've been through a few of those not qualifying moments, probably a lot more than you have and ever will do. So I know the feeling, but
yeah. So that was a bit. Should I just hit my rotor on a rock, probably 40 seconds into the track?
Oh man.
And it just bent the rotor, so every time the wheel would spin, it would just push the pads out.
Yeah, and you've got no brakes.
And then no rear brake. So pretty much did the whole Val de Sol with just a front brake.
No thanks.
I think I was 32nd.
Holy man, that's impressive to ride that track. I mean, just getting down there with a back brake doing that and still be so close.
Yeah, so that was pretty frustrating. But yeah, I think the speed was good, and then
because you kind of had a bit of a stretch through the middle where you were still laying down some putting some real good splits in that, but you sort of had a few, I guess, up and down races kind of until US Open where you just dominated the weekends. That was another impressive just here's Lachie. Big qualifier, big finals win.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a cool weekend actually.
Yeah. It looked like a fun race. Looked like a good one.
Yeah, it is cool. The track's actually pretty fun. It's not like the gnarliest track, but it is hard to race. It's hard to you can carry speed, but it's super easy to make a mistake. And if you make a mistake, it's flat. You're gonna struggle to get that time back. So it was quite cool, and I came in there. And I was starting to get to know the SRAM RockShox guys pretty well, and they were
trying to think of someone's name. I don't.
No, they were just like, are you too worried about this race?
Yeah.
And I was like, to be honest, no. They're like, okay, cool, let's try some stuff, because they let us pit with them for the week. So
because you guys are away from all your usual stuff. So
and Chris, they let us pit with them for the week, and they were like, oh, cool, let's test some stuff. The first day was slippery, and they put in totally different shock tune on my bike, and I was like, honestly, I can't tell the difference.
Yeah, you're like, I can't ride comfortably enough to know what's going on.
So they were like, okay, let's leave that. Go try win that 15 grand. And it was pretty sick actually.
Yeah, that's a nice payday to take home, 15 grand US.
Big time.
Yeah.
Hopefully I don't get too cooked on the tax.
Yeah, I don't know what the tax will be out of there, but yeah.
I think I'm all good in New Zealand.
Yeah.
Not taxable at all. But I think America will try to.
Yeah, I think they'll probably tax it straight off the top, but
yeah,
still good. I'm sure whatever comes out of it's nice. It's probably definitely a good payday, especially in these days. I was pretty impressed when I saw that how much. I think they said they put out $68,000 or something total prize money. That's pretty massive.
Yeah, what's that 100 and something New Zealand?
Yeah, it'd be I think it'd be into the hundreds or damn near close to it. So it's impressive what they've managed to pull together with that stuff. And then straight off that, I mean, you went into the final round at Mont Saint Anne, and I mean, everyone listening to this is going to be well and truly aware of your second place there again. Like, that was just a awesome run to watch. And then was it just another one of those, like, everything clicking that weekend? I don't remember how your like semi-finals and that went, but
I think I was 11th in semi-finals. Yeah, it wasn't like it was a good weekend, yeah, for sure. I was just having fun and sick track. Definitely, there's some stuff like coming into that rock garden never gets any easier.
No.
Coming in, you're tapped, and then there's that left hand, and then it just gets gnarly, and it's like every time I'm like, that's definitely something I need to work on. Is just being able to do it in practice. Yeah. Just every time, usually.
That rock garden is just something else through there. Like, I've never ridden anywhere else that has anything. Just like, it's just slabs. Yeah. Like, it's just slabs with steps in it. It's not even really a rock garden. Nothing moves.
Somewhere you probably shouldn't ride mountain bikes, and they've made us race through it. But it's cool. It's it was a really good weekend, and my run was just really solid. Like, it's hard to say like it wasn't anything special, because second place and that close to a win is pretty cool, but like I think my Poland run felt something special. Yeah. And the MSA one was just really good. One mistake, and
I think I remember hearing you say, you were kind of just like, because it had rained and you were like, I just don't want to fuck up, basically. Like, I just want to lay a run down. So I guess you were probably like, backed it off a little bit to a certain extent.
I don't think I backed it off. I just wanted to ride super dialed, and it was just like dialed. It was slippery, and like a little bit of backstory to that was, I think I was saying it before, every final that I've made this year, I've either podiumed, which was 2 of them, or I've been on pace for a podium or on pace for a win. So like Poland on pace for a win, Leogang podiumed, Lachie, I think I was on pace for like 4th or 5th, crashed. Ludenville, I was 3rd at that split that I crashed after the race had finished, but I crashed. Yeah. And so when it got to MSA, I was just like, I knew that I could put the pace together in a race run, but I just didn't want to crash. And so it's been quite a big learning curve for me this year to kind of just figure that stuff out. Yeah. Because it's all come really quickly. And I just really didn't want to fuck anything up, and it was super, super dialed. It was slippery, but it was just carried good speed everywhere. Like the rocks, a couple people said to me that I carried insane speed through the rocks. Like they were there, like watching. Yeah. Like, how did you do that? It was slippery, and I was like, the rocks are slippery in the dry, and the rocks are slippery in the dry. It's a gnarly rock garden. If you're offline in the dry, your front's gonna get caught on something, and you're gonna crash. So I kind of came into that attitude, and it's just like, make sure you're not offline. And you'll be fine. Like I had the line that I was riding through there, and there was nothing really that should have slowed me down, or that should have caught me out in the wet, unless I was offline. Yeah, right. So it's like when you're dialed like that, you come in pretty confident. For sure. And I mean, it could have gone the other way. I could have been offline and crashed, but I think you can't think like that. Yeah, you got to come in and make sure you're online, and you tickle your boxes and hit your marks. You'll be fine.
It seems like, mentally you're sort of saying like working out, kind of the speed and that sort of thing, and as you go, but do you think like mentally it got a little bit easier as the season went on, because you're like, well, this is kind of where I this is where my pace is now. Like, you don't feel like you're riding over your head kind of thing to get a podium. You're like, I can ride like this, and say like top of Mont Saint Anne, where you're kind of sitting there being like, this is where I'm at, this is where I belong, sort of thing. Is that how it felt? Yeah,
for sure. Like, even the semi-finals did, like, they put a bit of they always were in my head more, because it is pretty tight in the top 30, and so at the start of the year it's like, but by the end of the year I was pretty confident in my riding, and so those got easier. The semi-finals got easier, and I never really qualified that good,
because that's what I was kind of like. I was flicking through your results earlier on Roots and Rain, and I was like, man, there's never like this crazy, like top 5 qualifier or something. It's almost like, it looks like your kind of natural way that it goes is that you kind of just steadily build, like you get better and better as it kind of goes, which is like probably kind of seems to work, maybe it's just naturally kind of how you go. You just get faster as the weekend goes.
I think I hold back in quali and semi because I'm aware that I'm not protected, and I have confidence that I can put down a solid run and get in. Whereas, like in Poland, for example, where I was 7th and 5th, it was, I didn't have that confidence then, so I was just going all out to make it. And but now that I do have it, I don't want to go be pushing the limits in semis or qualies, and then make a mistake and not get through to finals. So I think that's why I never qualified that good or was that good in semi-finals.
It's a good it's a good mindset that you've got already kind of instilled in you, especially because now protection status is gone. So it's like you need to have a bit of smarts about you through those earlier rounds.
Like those top boys, they could afford to push in semi-finals. They were protected. So maybe they still will clean up in in quali and stuff like that. But I think now that we're all on the same, I guess we all have the same playing field next year. It might be a little bit different. You might see not quite as fast times in quali and I guess it's going to be quali if you're going fast. So and I quite like that actually.
Yeah, I think it's good because it's just going to stop that. I don't know if there was much of it just like going absolutely insane for qualies and that, but there's probably definitely a few people that relied on that protected status. So it'll be really interesting to see how it plays out. Obviously, like quite a few changes with the protection and like qualifying and that. But how do you kind of like from what you've seen with what's changing for next year? Like good, bad, not worried, just keep riding your bike kind of thing.
Yeah, a little bit. I think there's some good stuff for sure, and then I think there's some stuff that's a little bit of a shame. I haven't honestly read into it too much. Of just obviously I saw when Pink Bike posted that leaked document, and then I just got told it's all been released fully now. But yeah, I think there's some stuff I don't agree with. Like I'm not too sure how it's going to be for teams like Union. That are not quite
those teams on the cusp. It's going to be it's going to be a shame because I think we're going to see like a lot of good, hard-working teams just go away because they're just going to get lost in amongst it. Like, I mean, the Union is probably at the higher end of those teams, but there's still a lot of other teams in there who have got good riders who will potentially just lose opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, and I kind of get the whole Continental Series idea, but there is no
Continental Series.
There's no Continental Series, so it all seems to me at the moment it's a little too much too soon.
I couldn't have put it better myself. I think you've hit it like on the head.
Yeah, and I think it's a little bit of a shame. Like my little brother wants to go race World Cups too, and that's my youngest brother.
Yeah.
My closest brother to me, he raced a couple this year.
Yeah. So that's Wyatt, and then
that's
Sterling's
Wyatt,
the
and then
youngest.
Sterling's my youngest, yeah. But it's just like, especially coming from here in Australia and I guess South Africa, it's like pretty long way to go for a continental series that doesn't actually exist at the moment.
Yeah.
So,
and I mean, you'd think theoretically there should be a continental series down here as well, but
yeah.
there isn't one. No one's heard anything about it. There's not even any rumors of any sort of continental thing. So
Yeah, so
where's the pathway?
I think there's a couple things that is a bit of a shame. And like I find it crazy that, I mean, I'm still not too sure what's going on with like union and stuff like that, but from what have read, it seems like it's going to be close, and if the union weren't to make the top 15, and which I'm not too sure if they will, and then you might get a wild card spot.
Yeah.
How is Joe meant to budget and get riders and get backing from sponsors for next year when he's not going to know until February or whenever it is, if they're going to be a team next year? So I think that's a bit bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, he needed to have budgets and stuff locked in like 2 months ago.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like that's how the industry works. You know, we're sitting here in October, and it's like most of the time these teams have got most stuff locked in before the season's even finished. And that team like his, which has done incredible things, like just in this past season with you guys, you know, like I guarantee the points that the union got this year compared to the, you know, like the value for dollars spent for points that they got is way above any other team.
I think in the UCI standings, our team was 8th.
Yeah, so that's incredible.
I'm not too sure in the World Cup rankings, but I think like UCI rankings, I'm pretty sure our team was 8th. Like,
and then the whole kind of like wildcard thing seems very vague as well. It's kind of like, well, you know, if you've got a good social media presence and if you've got this, then maybe you'll be invited. Like it just seems, I don't know, seems very vague, and like,
yeah.
You can't really run a team off hopes and dreams.
Yeah, honestly, I can't really say too much because I don't know. Like, I haven't read into it too much.
No, we're fully speculating at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I find it crazy that, I mean, we nearly just won a World Cup at the last race of the year, and then the union might not be a thing next year because it's not a top. It's like the rich get richer, the poor get poorer.
Yeah. And it's kind of, there's no, I mean, you've got like IXS Cups and things like that. You've got these other race series in Europe, but none of them are like, I'm sure they'll be able to work as like feeder races or something, but it's like for Joe and the union, there's probably no value in him. Like if he, let's say hypothetically, doesn't make it as a wildcard team or into the UCI teams, there's not really any value for them to go try and race these races.
Yeah, exactly. Like, unless they're televising them and they are really pushing the Continental Series, obviously then there's value, but I think it's going to take a lot of work to get there when there's not a Continental Series right now. Yeah, there is the IXS and stuff like that, but yeah, I honestly don't know the plans of what they have. Maybe they do have good plans, or maybe they're going to back the IXS, or maybe they're going to turn the IXS into the Continental Series and they're going to back that and make that bigger. Or
I don't know. Seems like Warner Brothers is just very more Discovery or whatever it is, like seems very focused on just building the World Cup into like Formula One. I don't know.
With not that much money.
Yeah. I mean, from the outside looking at, I mean, again, still just fully speculating. But like, I mean, I had quite a good catch up with Clay Harper, who runs the US Open, the Monster Pro Downhill Series, and that just a couple of days ago. And yeah, I mean, I think like they're sitting in a really good position to catch a lot of these people, especially you talked about like the Kiwis, the Aussies, the South Africans. It's easier for the Southern Hemisphere people to get to the US. And, like it's kind of culturally, it's easier. So it's like if they can build a really good series there, I think like that could be the next real leveled up series that becomes kind of the next focal point, because they I mean, it's a big country. There's people with money. There's bike brands there. It could be the next place, which will be interesting to see.
Yeah, for sure. Like, yeah. And I think with the whole American thing, you know, you see just that American motocross.
Yeah.
What is it? AMA?
AMA, yeah.
Association, or they literally have their pro motocross national, and those dudes are getting paid millions.
Yeah.
And it's just
Massive.
an American race. Like, if obviously mountain bike's a bit different, but America does have that size where you don't really need Europe. And maybe, I mean, we raced the US Open, and that was part of the Monster Energy Pros.
Yeah, the Pro Downhill Series. Yeah.
And that was a really, really well run race. Like Clay did an awesome job, and even just it was a cool run race. If they can get some really good tracks, I don't know what their other tracks are like.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much good stuff around there, but I think it's always that challenge of, you know, finding the people that want to host events, finding the right spots, and that sort of thing. But yeah, I know he's got a couple of new venues. He says he's got a couple of new venues lined up, so the series is going to expand another race. It's going to be 5 rounds next year, so it's like he's slowly kind of building it, which I think will work. But yeah, it's like you kind of talk about that motocross, like AMA, and that's the way I could kind of see it ending up. You know, like you'll have like a US downhill series, and then the World Cups the World Cups are basically Europe anyway, and that'll almost be like the European high level series like the MXGPs are. So
and I mean, like, mountain bikes getting pretty big. So I don't see why they couldn't have both. Personally, for me at the moment, World Cup's always going to be the goal.
I mean,
it's a pinnacle, I think. At the moment. But yeah, I don't know whether they can turn that into the pinnacle. Like, to be honest, I'm a motocross fan, but I don't know all the ins and outs, and I don't know what is the pinnacle compared to the American stuff or the MXGP. You know, people say that the MXGP dudes would come over and smoke them, but then you look at the Lawrence brothers and Chase. I think that'd be pretty up there too. And Tony Mac, and I don't know. So
it's going to be really interesting, like next, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 years in downhill, I think, with the way kind of, the World Cups are changing, the US series will rise a bit. Like, it's going to be super interesting to see. And I mean, the depth of talent racing now, I think, is beyond what it's ever been. You know, like, their top 30 is faster than what it's ever been, or closer, than what it's ever been. It's I mean, other than, Loic's obviously been pretty damn dominant for a while, but there's so many other guys who could be 15th one weekend, but they might win the next weekend. So it'll be super interesting to see how it all plays out.
Yeah, for sure. I hope that we just get to keep the downhill that we all love,
Yeah.
Like,
I agree.
I think it's changed a little bit with the semi-finals. Hopefully it'll come back a little bit with this Q1, Q2 thing. The top dudes are going to do one run, which I like a lot more.
It's going to be super interesting to see how that plays out as well with the new format. But it's good that it is like if you do, you are one of those consistent top guys, you get through, you do your first run, and then kind of everyone else, gets like that last chance, which is cool.
And also, I think from that last chance, you might get, I think it was your podcast I was listening to, where you guys were talking about, when it was top 60, you'd have a wild card dude do insane one weekend. And I think with that LCQ or whatever they're calling it, you might still get that, which is cool. Because, to be honest, like, I was kind of that guy.
Yeah.
And I think it can happen. And with the semi-finals, it's like you have to be just so, like, consistent, and it's pretty hard when you could put down a run, and if it was just one run, you could put it down and get a really good result, and then from that confidence you could build. So I think it's going in a better direction now.
Yeah, I think, like, now you kind of look back at the whole qualifying semi-finals thing. It's a bit weird how everyone was racing through each round of them. So you were sort of like, all of a sudden you were having someone who'd do super well in qualifying and then they wouldn't make the finals. And like you were saying, you had that mechanical where you missed out and that sort of thing. So it was a super odd situation, I think. But no, it's going to be, I don't know, it's going to be really interesting next season, I think, just with the changes and see how it all plays out. We'll go back a step, or back a few steps actually. So I remember the first memories I can have of you is about it must have been 2019, like in the National Series, and I think you were on a transition. Did you have dreads?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, had dreadlocks.
Little nugget with dreadlocks, and I remember seeing you ripping and being like, man, this kid's going, but like, that's 2019 doesn't actually feel like that long ago, but it was not that long ago. Where'd you come from before then? I think you had a BMX background.
Yep.
I guess where did bikes start?
Bike started probably 4 years old.
Yeah.
Before that, my dad, I was on like a little Pee-wee 50.
Awesome.
Racing motocross. Then got like a KDM 50, little 2-stroke. And we had that thing for years. But yeah, racing motocross. And then one day we were just driving down Tenai Road and I saw the BMX track and was like, what's that? I want to go ride my motorbike on that.
This thing looks amazing. There's a supercross track here, Dad.
Yeah.
Like,
and then so he took me down on my little 12-inch. I think I was maybe 4.
push you down the start ramp and off you go.
And then from there, started racing BMX. Just winning those like national titles and stuff. And then 2009, would have been 5 years old. My parents took me to World Champs in Adelaide.
That was 2009 was like one of my last seasons racing. I was starting to feel real old now, but
yeah.
So you see with BMX,
5.
so BMX World Champs.
Yeah, took me to BMX World Champs in 2009, and that was when I was 5. So the youngest age group at World Champs was 6 years at 6 and unders or something. So I don't know. I remember we got a video of it somewhere, but I had this big crash over the first jump, and then I was so little I couldn't get back up. Like I had to do a couple tries to make it up the second jump,
shit.
And then got like a standing ovation when I got to the top and stuff. But yeah, that was in the semi-finals. Went out, and then the next year, South Africa World Champs. I won my first BMX world title at 6, and then won again at 7. Got second when I was 8, won again when I was 9 in Auckland.
Yeah.
Got second at 10, and then second at 11. And then at that stage, kids were starting to grow.
Yeah.
And I wasn't. I was just scrawny and not growing at all. And, the first straight's pretty important in BMX. And my track speed was good. I was a good rider. I just didn't have the first straight that other kids have. I didn't have the size.
I don't follow BMX too close, but it seems like that's kind of, like it's almost like a whole shot race to the first turn. And
no, for sure. And I kind of just started getting beaten.
You're like,
wasn't enjoying it.
Technically, I could imagine you were technically very, very good because it's like you are a fucking amazing bike rider, but obviously it's like if you're not getting that power. And strength. Yeah,
it doesn't matter if you're amazing. You need the power out the gate.
Was there anyone that you were racing through those years that's still like say racing World Cups and stuff like
Rico Behrman?
Oh yeah, of course.
So I grew up with him pretty much from when I was 4. Went to every World Champs together. Would travel as like families.
So he was at the Olympics this year.
So he just went to the Olympics, and I remember when we were little, that was the goal was the 2024 Olympics.
Yeah, crazy.
So that was actually unreal to see him go, and he's still at it, and he's cracking it. He won some under 23 World Cups.
Yeah.
Won the overall, I'm pretty sure.
Right. Yeah. I knew you'd been good at BMX, but I didn't realize you had like a bunch of world titles and stuff. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. That they're little kid.
But still, yes, mate, that's awesome to have.
And then from when I decided to stop racing BMX, I didn't really decide to stop racing BMX. We lived in Rotorua. got a mountain bike.
Mountain biking's pretty accessible here.
Yeah, just was riding every weekend with my friends. And then slowly we were like, world champs was in Colombia, I think.
It's BMX World Champs.
Yeah, sorry, BMX World Champs was in Colombia the next year. The last BMX World Champs I did was Belgium in 2015.
Yeah.
So, I was 11, 2015. And then 2016 World Champs were in Medellin, Colombia.
Well, man, you've done some travelling with BMX.
We didn't
Champs,
go.
Like, oh, you didn't? Okay.
We were kind of
I was like, that would be a wild one to go to.
Yeah, I was starting to get beat, and parents were like, like, do you want to keep doing it? And I wasn't too sure. And my parents have been so good. They've always been like, we'll support you 100% as long as you put 100% into it.
Yeah,
and I think
which is awesome. That's
but they're like, like if you're not in it, we're not gonna just spend all this money taking you to world champs. And I just think I just wasn't in it anymore.
Yeah,
didn't like getting beat. When I was then we decided not to go to Worlds and slowly just weaned out of BMX. I never was like, I quit.
Yeah.
I still go to the BMX track now. We just slowly weaned out, stopped.
Sort of turned into mountain biking
Yeah,
instead.
just turned into mountain biking, and then maybe it was like a year of not much racing. And then, I had like a little transition bandit. And then my parents bought me like an old Demo 8.
Oh, yeah.
Carbon, sick bike.
Oh, yeah.
Like the old like 6-bar kind of.
Yeah, I know the ones.
one.
Yeah, they're still pretty cool looking. Actually, I think.
I think we still got it in the shed.
No way, that's awesome.
When I was 13, could hardly move the thing, and started racing under 15s. Won some races, and then Guy Johnson was there. He'd put 20 seconds into me. And we knew Guy from BMX too.
Oh, of course, yeah.
So, I was never like I could ride a bike, but I wasn't that good when I was super young. Like Guy would put 20 seconds into me, and then I think when I started getting fast, I was second year under 17. That's when I started winning the national rounds. I won national champs. Because the year before that, I still had Guy and Marcus Ross, and that was 2019. My first year under 17.
Okay, yeah.
I was on that blue transition. And that was the first year that we decided to go try race some national rounds.
Ah, yeah. This is like the big step.
Yeah,
go hit some nationals. Go down south probably for like the first time sort of thing.
Went down south, and it was Christchurch and Cardrona. I think Christchurch was the first one.
Mm-hmm.
And
it was.
I crashed and broke my elbow.
Oh, man, you've had some bad luck in Christchurch, because that was at the Adventure Park as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was at the Adventure Park.
Oh, man.
So I missed Cardrona, didn't get to race that, then missed Cardrona, and I had just got that blue transition. I'd just gone off.
Devastated.
It's gutted. And then, so we were staying in Wanaka, and that whole week I just bought a skateboard and was just skating with a broken elbow. And then I jumped back on my bike like the week of national champs and got 6th or something, and that was in Rotorua.
Yeah.
And then the next year was when I started doing good. Like I had Revolution products helping me out, Fox, New Zealand. And then I won national champs in Dunedin.
Do you think, like you're saying, kind of the early, when you first like started riding mountain bike, and you're saying like you kind of weren't strong enough with BMX, do you think that was a bit of it as well? Like still just building that strength was like kind of holding you back, or was it just getting used to the racing mountain bikes maybe?
Yeah.
Pretty different.
Yeah, it is different. I don't know. I don't know.
Like you said, at that age, you're like 15, you're just riding your bike.
Yeah, just riding my bike, trying to go fast.
Yeah.
Never knew what carrying speed was. Like, stuff like that. I just thought you'd just go as fast as you can and slam on the brakes as late as possible.
Just hit the corner as hard as you possibly can.
I was pretty... just ride bikes, have fun. Yeah. I think that's pretty key. I get some messages from young kids saying, how do I get fast? How do I do this? I'm just like, don't worry about it.
The one that concerns me is the how do I get sponsored?
Yeah.
You're like, just ride your bike and have fun for a start.
Yeah, for sure. I literally just say, seriously, don't worry about it. Just have fun, ride your bike. Don't do drugs.
Yeah.
Don't get on the piss hard.
Yeah. Ride any bike and every bike. That's always been mine. Like, ride a BMX, go to the skate park, go ride dirt jumps, go ride cross country, go do whatever. Like, it's all good.
Yeah, for sure. Just have fun. Don't worry about that shit. It'll come when you're older.
If you get to, it's like you see some of the, I mean, probably BMX is more rife with it than mountain biking, but it's like the classic, you know, kids are just pressure, and it's like, they're so little, and then they're just over it. They want to go be kids, and so you see them just disappear again.
Yeah, exactly.
There's definitely been a few of them in like that I've seen come through downhill and World Cups and in New Zealand, but I think it's probably a bit more prevalent in the BMX side by the looks of it.
Yeah, I'm pretty out of the BMX. The only reason I follow it is because of Rico.
Yeah.
And I only really follow it when he races.
Fair. You've got to kind of have someone, I think you've got to have someone in anything like that to be actually like wanting to follow it and be super into it.
Yeah.
So that pretty much would have, by that point you pretty much would have put you into like going racing overseas for the first time, racing downhill. So what was that, your first year? Did you go before you were under 19 or did you just go first year?
No, just first year junior.
Yeah.
I did really good in the national series, won national champs, bottom age, under 19. And then, had like a transition TR 11, like Revolution products will still help me out. It was a 27.5 bike. I just put a Fox 49 on it.
Just made a mullet.
Yeah, just made it. Just put it in. I was like, why not?
Yeah.
It was actually a sick bike. Just pulled the stanchions through all the way. Like, almost too far. That when I first got my fork serviced by Fox, Geordie was like, dude, what are you doing? Why are your seals getting bashed down?
Why are your seals flattened?
Yeah, because the crown was smacking on the seals, but it was sick. It was like, I was pretty lucky that my parents supported me to do that, and we had a van with Alex Wayman, Hotor, and Finn HB, and it was sick.
It's that's just life experiences there, eh? It's like that's the sort of stuff you'll never forget, you know. No matter what you do, I think from here with your racing, you'll still remember those like formative years of just hanging with your friends, like learning the ropes. And
yeah, for sure. I think going away by yourself at 16 and for that long and living out of a van, we always had accommodation race weeks, but like in between living out of a van, I'm sure you've heard the story about how me and Alex got trapped in Schladming and nearly had to.
I haven't, but I think maybe
got a
we
little
need it.
Twisted. People think that we slept in a tent on the side of Schladming Hill, but basically we were in Schladming riding and Hotor and Finn didn't want to come, so we got dropped there. They rode one day and they wanted to go back to Slovenia for this party, and me and Alex were like, dude, why?
Yeah.
And then
let's ride our bikes. That's what we're here for.
So then I can't really remember. I don't know if they just like decided to leave real late or something, but we'd finished riding and we're sitting in the bottom of Schladming and we're like, we have nowhere to stay tonight. What are we going to do? So we tried to go around the shops, look for a tent, and they were all shut. And then we were just like, oh well. So we just bought a beer from the supermarket, and there's like this chairlift at the bottom that's like by the bus stop. If you've been there, you would have seen it. It's like a 10-seater chairlift, and we just sat in that for like an hour and a half, being like, maybe we just sleep here tonight. Yeah. We held down our bikes in a little backpack, and then we like I can't remember if we put something out like anyone have a place in Schladming or. But we were pretty prepared just to sleep on the side of the hill in Schladming.
Mentally prepared yourselves, like we're just camping in the wild.
Yeah, and it would have been all good, but was middle of summer and stuff. But then James McDermott hit us up and he was like, "Yo, we have a spot half an hour down the road." So we like caught a train to their house, and they let us sleep on the floor, which was pretty good.
So this is the joys of you guys being in the age of social media. Because when I was over there, we would have been sitting there like, we don't have cell phones, we don't have internet, we're fucked. But
yeah. And then, yeah, so... And then the good old... Yeah, it was all good. And the good old downhill, we got a ride from Scott to Val de Sol.
Yeah.
And then Tilton and Finn, they didn't get there that day, so then we had no accommodation in Val de Sol. And then we were going to sleep next to Remy Mere Smith's van under a tent, like just under a little gazebo next to their van. And then Mark Cummings, he runs the GT... Continental GT.
Oh yeah, yep.
He let me and Alex sleep in his camper van. He had the big back bed, and he let me and Alex sleep up in the top, bed. He like cooked us a big dinner. So like that's what's cool about downhill. Everyone looks after everyone.
It's the best day. It's like you seem to always find a way out. You know, like there's always someone who'll be like, "Come on, guys, like we'll get you sorted."
Yeah. So yeah, we're pretty lucky that we're in that position.
Oh man, well this has been awesome. Been cool to hear, you know, how the season went, bit of background stuff, and really stoked we could make this happen while I was up here in your hometown. So thanks for joining me, and really looking forward to seeing how everything goes next season for you.
Cheers, bro. Thanks for having me on.
What's up? I come from the land of down under. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. What was that? I can't hear you. I let it be like John Lennon, the anti-serum that you don't get for poisonous venom. Read the label carefully, I'm only here for the show. I love hip-hop too much to let you feed my ego. In the key of F-U-C-K, Y-O-U. I mean, why do I owe you if you're not helping me through? I mean, why do I owe you if you're obstructing my view? Success is not my castle, just a house that's brand new. You see, I irrigate the culture, give it shape like a sculpture. Still complicated, rock like I'm supposed to. B-L-I-T-Z like my DJ. Rock to the rhythm like you rock to what he plays.